It's weekend again, and it's also a bit windy again, but it's not raining, so I think we'll have a little look round garden at some of these plants and see what sort of progress they're making, and one or two that we haven't looked at since we actually planted them. Well, this sweet corn's really starting to come on now, getting a good size to it. So since it's now July, hopefully we'll get a bit of a spurt on. Pretty much all these sunflowers have come out now. They are facing the wrong way, but still a nice bit of colour. And both of those big ones that we dug up out at greenhouse are in full flower now. And these are those Jack be Little miniature pumpkin plants that we popped in along this fence. And they're all starting to get the new growth on now, which is good to see. So hopefully we'll get some miniature pumpkins by the end of the year. And all these flowers are out as well now, looking really good. We've got a couple of full-size sunflowers here. Still quite thin stems, but they will thicken up as they grow. And we've got this fuchsia as well. Potted that on a few weeks ago, and now it's coming to full flower, which is really nice to see. I've started putting a few canes in here now, because these tomato plants that we put outside are starting to get a bit of height to them. And we've just spent the morning in here clearing all the weeds from underneath. Just got a little bit left to do at that end. And now we can see all these carrots that we planted quite a while ago. So they're all starting to come on. So hopefully we'll get some decent carrots at the end of the year as well. That French bean plant is now going a bit mad. It's grown to the top of those canes, and now it's trying to grow across the roof of this greenhouse. So I'll probably hang that over here and then to the next one. That way the beans will be hanging down, so they'll be a lot easier to pick. And we've had some volunteer potato plants come up. Obviously a couple of little potatoes that got left in last year, but they are flowering, so I thought I'll leave them, and when they've fully died back we'll have a little dig and see if we can get some free potatoes. And we planted some kale under this net not too long ago. They're only tiny little seedlings, but this one's starting to really come on now. And we've got a few more tomatoes that we popped outside, so we'll have to get some sticks in the ground to hold these, because this one has already got a tomato on it. And this one's got two. So we'll definitely get some sticks in these. We'll get an outdoor harvest of tomatoes for freezing as well. So far that Calabrese is still surviving. It hasn't bolted like the other one, and the one next to it seems okay, but this just bolted. It's gone into full flower now. I mean, pretty to see, but annoying at the same time. And then we've got these. Those are those little sweet plants that we put in, and if you remember, they were tiny, and I said I wouldn't normally plant them out so small. But in just a couple of weeks, look how they've come on. And the same with the snowball turnips. They've also got some good growth on them. So that were worth doing. And I've caned up this last greenhouse now because all these tomato plants are now starting to shoot up a bit. So we've probably got somewhere in the region of about 30 tomato plants at the moment in various places around the garden. These cauliflowers have got a really good size to them now. And so have these cabbages. And this one is now starting to heart up. This has put some more growth on, so we need to tie that up. And again, keep behind those suckers, take them off, even these little ones. Some more there. You've got to constantly watch them. But at least they are getting tomatoes on them, which is good to see. And that's that outdoor girl one. It's getting really big now. Lots of tomatoes on it now. And all the sweet bell peppers are doing really well too. Especially this one in a 10-litre pot. We've got some little peppers that's going to start to form any day now. So we'll make sure we keep giving that a feed every 14 days. Another strawberry, we'll take that. We chucked a net over this because the birds ate about 3 or 4 of them a couple of days ago. We also put some tomato plants in here, and that was quite a while ago, and it was still quite cool, just to see what would happen. And they looked a bit worse for wear a few weeks ago, but now they're starting to get some decent growth on them. There's another strawberry. And these strawberry plants are now putting runners out. So basically what we're going to do is plant them in pots, because then it's going to grow a brand new strawberry plant. Then at the end of the season we'll just snip it off, and then we've got our own potted strawberry plant for next year. Weeds. Spring onions coming along nicely. Bit slow growing because of this up and down weather we've been having, but they'll start and pick up now. And this is that bed that we cleaned out the other day. Thinned all those carrots out so they grow bigger. And we've also got some cauliflowers in here, netted up to protect them from cabbage white. But they're starting to get little cauliflower heads growing now. So hopefully they'll survive. And that's got quite a big one. But I have seen a few cabbage white butterflies today, so we better keep his eye on these. All those potato pots are doing pretty good. These are all in 10-litre pots, just to see what we could get out of them. I can't wait to harvest them. And that raspberry plant, the fruit's now starting to colour up, so that's really good. We've tied it up a bit more because it's put quite a bit of growth on. And we've got some cabbages that are trying to heart up, even though these leaves aren't very good. It's still trying. I think it's just had a bit of a beating over the last few days, so we'll have to see how that gets on. And we've got more blueberries growing. And these onions in this little tiny little container. We said we won't get very big onions, but we've still got some. and it's such a small little box. So I think we'll harvest these as small onions this weekend. And another potato plant in this wooden planter. Seems to be doing okay at the moment. And this rhubarb is still growing really well, so we'll be getting another harvest of that. So all in all, everything seems to be doing quite well, considering this up and down weather we keep getting. Well, that likeness that we had to prop up with that chair because the wind knocked it over has managed to get back on its feet. And so has this blue bedder that we grew from seed. But now we've got a bit of a problem. We've got lots of things self-seeding in this area. And it's pretty to see, but it is starting to take over a little bit now. We've got self-seeded pansies and the poppies. That is a self-seeded plant as well. But we did this border with perennial lignous plants, which look really well, and then we put some blue bedders in front to add a bit of contrast. They're doing great, but meanwhile everything else has took over. We can hardly see that dwarf pear tree anymore. We've got more pansies coming through there and lots more poppies. So I think we're going to have to do a bit of a tidy up and get rid of some of these plants that's self-seeded. We'll leave the ones in this bed because that's what it's for. But we don't want this pear tree getting smothered, especially since it's getting some decent sized pears on it now. So as you saw by that, there's quite a few things in garden that are doing really well. And we start to bear in mind that this year is not exactly right. It's not the way summer should be, with rain and bad winds, followed by really hot days. But we're still getting little harvests for strawberries, beans, peas and lettuce. And pretty soon we're going to be getting tomatoes as well. And as I say, we've got over 30 plants growing in various places in garden at the moment and in greenhouses. So that's going to be really good when it comes to harvest, blanching and freezing, so we can make all these soups and sauces and curries, etc. over winter. So as a gardener, you're going to find that you'll have things that do really well, you're going to have things that don't do so well. And then you'll find that you'll put things in like the Swedes that were such tiny little plants, and we put them outside in that bed area, and I wasn't sure they was actually going to make it with them being so tiny, but just in a couple of weeks time they're really big, good looking plants. So we're going to get some swede and some turnip as well. And we've done as usual, clean up around bottoms of tomato plants, checking for those little persistent suckers while we do it. Keep all your bottoms nice and clear, that'll keep slugs away. They've got nowhere to hide if you keep it all clear underneath your plants. Keep taking off those lower branches as the plant grows. And don't forget, every 14 days give them a bit of diluted feed, because if they're growing tomatoes they're going to need those extra nutrients to not only grow but ripen your fruit as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little look round at what's going on in gardening at the moment. And now we're in July, we should see things progress a lot quicker. And if you want to see what happens over the next couple of months, then just hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and we'll see you on the next update. You all take care.